I am Essa Ekram Matthew, head of the Climate Change Unit at ANADA General Directorate. ANADA stands for National Agency for Rural Development Support. It has the responsibility to oversee farmers and promote new technologies in the country. As pertaining to the EU-UNEP Africa LEDS Project, this is a timely intervention that is intervening in a key area cutting across our climate and development priorities. Cote d'Ivoire's agriculture sector and energy demand for wood as a cooking fuel contributes to deforestation in a country with one of the world's highest rates of deforestation. So the need for sustainable ways of managing our agriculture and domestic energy demand was paramount. This project was timely as it demonstrated how we could do this as a country using practical approaches that are accessible even to our people down at the community level. Accordingly, work focused on agriculture waste recovery to energy and biofertilizer. Rice being among our key staples, we focused on converting rice husk waste to fuel briquettes, to substitute use of firewood and charcoal and save our forests. This same rice waste was also converted to biofertilizer to mitigate emissions associated with mineral fertilizers and was applied in sustainable rice intensification, SRI. ANADA was the technical lead in implementing this on the ground. We worked with the local rice farming communities to develop and implement a system of converting rice husks to fuel briquettes and organic fertilizer. We chose 2 sites where rice is grown widely, one in Tipadipa and another in Tietieku, all in Gagno City. We guided these local actors to realign their day-to-day actions to this logic of rice waste to briquettes and fertilizer. Waste collectors were guided to collect rice waste. Farmers were guided on composting part of the waste to form fertilizer. The local briquettes maker in Gagnoa was guided to adapt use of rice waste as raw material. Thanks to these linkages, we covered 50 hectares of rice and trained 93 local rice farmers on sustainable rice intensification using, among inputs, organic fertilizer. The result was higher yields, an average yield of 4.3 tons per hectare, compared to business as usual approaches where yields were at best 2.9 tons per hectare. This is a 48% increase in yields. The briquettes made from rice waste were tested and proven to be much more efficient and create additional sustainable income opportunities. Results of work on the 50 hectares were fed into the model developed to forecast long-term impacts and inform policy decision makers. The projects were made up to 2050. If Cote d'Ivoire mainstreams agricultural waste to energy and biofertilizer, we will record economic and climate benefits. Economically, the country can create over $4,000 in community-level income opportunities each year by 2050 from rice husk briquettes. At economy-wide scale, the country can save over $2 million by substituting mineral fertilizer with organic fertilizer. At community level, substituting mineral fertilizer with organic fertilizer will save $50,000 per year for 150 hectares of rice. The combination of rice waste to briquettes and organic fertilizer will create up to 16,000 jobs across the agricultural waste and energy sectors. On the climate front, the country can reduce deforestation by half and sequester over 900,000 tons of carbon. We plan to duplicate the demonstrated approaches in other regions where rice is among priorities such as Dola, Yamoussoukro, or Kohoho. We plan to go beyond these pilot project sites in Gagnoa. We are delighted to be associated with this program and will do our best to succeed. I am Geswan B. Dezoin, President of the Rice Platform, an innovation platform of Gagnoa. With regard to the EU-UNEP Africa LEDS Project, it is a revolutionary project. First of all, we had to select the beneficiary using some criteria. We had to select a village within a radius of 20 kilometers from Gagnoa town and one that is accessible to proven rice producers. Also, where there are some production problems to solve. The first problem was the quantity of seed to be used. Farmers used to take 60 kilograms per hectare. Now with the EU-UNEP Africa LEDS project, 10 kilograms are enough to cultivate 1 hectare of rice thanks to the organic fertilizer and improved seeds that were applied in the sites. Another problem was that the crop residues such as rice straw were burnt on site. The EU-UNEP Africa LEDS Project harvested this waste and converted it into fuel briquettes to substitute the use of charcoal and firewood that was destroying our forests. Our communities were very happy with the rice husk briquettes, which burn much more efficiently. This EU-UNEP Africa LEDS project should be duplicated and extended to other regions. My name is Silu Nanogwo, a rice farmer in Tipadipa. The project has trained us on how to better prepare the rice nursery and make profit. Before, the project we used to take 70 to 100 kilograms of seed per hectare, but today with 10 kilograms, we can plant 1 hectare. The nurseries are then transplanted in rows. It would be good if the project could be replicated countrywide. My name is Diara Soba Asetu. I'm a rice farmer in Tipadipa. After the training, we're now using less seeds, 10 kilograms per hectare, with excellent productivity and good quality of product. It will also be appreciated if what was demonstrated in our farms here can be replicated across the country, so our sisters and brothers in other areas can also benefit from these transformative approaches. My name is Zagri Noel, a rice farmer in Titieteku. After the training, we are now using less seeds, with excellent productivity and good quality of product. It would be wonderful if what we have learned here can be replicated across the country for our brothers and sisters in other areas to also benefit from these transformative approaches. I am Kalibali Ramato, manager of Africa Business Group, Afribug. We produce fuel briquettes and value the rice husk toward producing biocharcoal. As part of the EU-UNEP Africa LEDS project, we were trained on capacity building in socio-economic aspects and briquette production using rice husks. The rice husk briquettes burn much more efficiently than what we had, and the waste is obtained freely from our local farmers. Through the EU-UNEP Africa LEDS project, we expect households to switch from charcoal to briquette made with rice husk, and we look forward to increasing our profitability since the cost of raw material is near zero. I am Mr. Jean-Claude Koya, Technical Advisor to the Minister of Planning and Development, in charge of National Development Planning and Prospective Studies, as well as national statistics reports with support of relevant institutions such as the National Statistics Institute, INS. As a ministry, we ensure inclusiveness and strong coordination of sectoral actions for climate change, mainstreaming in the sectoral and national plans to achieve its climate change objectives. The Ministry of Planning plays a critical role in the NDC and environmental-related commitment processes. As the chair of the political task force of the LEDS process in Cote d'Ivoire, we provided political guidance to align the LEDS interventions with national priorities. I'm glad that at the end of the project, we compiled the case studies informed by the ground actions of waste to energy. These studies are informing national low emissions development plans in agriculture, forestry, energy, and waste sectors, and we are working with our colleagues to ensure appropriate policy amendments. The models that were used to forecast long-term impacts up to 2050 show that Cote d'Ivoire can not only mitigate emissions, but can also create jobs, save on fertilizer and energy costs. When we scale the agriculture waste to energy and biofertilizer paradigm, that was demonstrated on the ground in Tipadipa and Tieteku. Any future project should build on the outcomes of this project, and especially we think the upcoming Waste NDC's project should particularly borrow a leaf and extend what was done by the EU-UNEP Africa LEDS project. I am Dr. Eric Asamoah Michel, Director of the Fight Against Climate Change at the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development. I have been deeply involved in the EU-UNEP Africa LEDS project, not only as a director, but also as a researcher in supporting the LEDS political task force. The EU-UNEP Africa LEDS project is critical, as it helped put in practice the NDC implementation in the agriculture, waste, and energy sectors through the excellent pilot project in Gagnoa. It can serve as a reference for other sectoral interventions to accelerate our NDC implementation. The work on waste to energy and biofertilizer both on the ground through the case studies and through the models provided us with insights to directly inform some of our priority policies as follows. Agriculture, informing revisions and upgrading of the National Climate Smart Agriculture Strategy. Forestry, informing development of the Sustainable Cooking Energies Strategy to strengthen Cote d'Ivoire REDD Plus mechanism. Forestry, informing development of the Sustainable Cooking Energies Strategy to strengthen Cote d'Ivoire's REDD Plus mechanism. Energy, informing national framework for incentivizing private investment in sustainable cooking energy options. Waste, informing implementation actions for operationalization of national strategy of efficient recovery of waste towards circular economy through creation of a green SMEs cluster. These provide best practice of practical approaches for conversion of agricultural waste to energy briquettes and biofertilizer.